Hello, everybody, and welcome to our January 22nd update. But we are actually coming to you on the 19th on Friday. We just have a little bit of a scheduling hiccup on Monday morning, so we're doing our update a bit early. And let's just get right into it. We'll start first of all with a land acknowledgement, as we always do. Our goal is to always center the land in the work that we do, because by putting the land first, we remind ourselves the land was here first and will be here long after we are, and that in fact we only exist as people here on this planet because the land and all of our relations have lifted us up to be people. And so in doing so, we are returning to indigenous wisdom that has been held for time immemorial by indigenous cultures around the world, and at great cost and expense to themselves, in the face of colonization and oppression. And so in acknowledging that, we also acknowledge a debt of gratitude and a responsibility for reconciliation to repair the relationships that have been harmed, and with all of our relations, human and more than human. And in doing that, I specifically acknowledge that I live on the traditional territories of the WSÁNEĆ, Coast Salish people here in the Salish Sea, who have been here for time immemorial and are still here. And in acknowledging that, I have a debt of gratitude, and also I recognize my responsibility to be a good neighbor and to be a good citizen of this place. And with that, welcome to the Lifeboat Academy. And if this is your first encounter with us, the Lifeboat Academy aims to be a model of resilience and regeneration at the person, place, and community level. We are trying to figure out how we all can get through what is coming at us as best we can, because we know there's stuff coming down the pike. And we are more than about building a single lifeboat. We are about building a fleet of lifeboats. And for us, a lifeboat is a personal, place-based resilience network where you lean into the relationships you already have in your home community, and you find ways of mutual support so that we can all do better with what we have. And hopefully we can come together in a mutual aid network of lifeboat builders around the world, so that we can share resources and information, so we can all be doing what we're doing a little better and a little smarter. And we want to start with some introductions and let you know where we're coming from. Our standard opening question is, what's got your attention at the moment? And the circle, as I see it, is Roland, Ronnie, me. So Roland, what has your attention at the moment? And you're muted.
At the moment, I'm thinking of place and what the meaning of place is, and how that relates to the planning sessions that are happening, that are about what we are going to do here in this place and also collectively on this planet in the coming year. Um, so over to Ronnie.
I'm thinking about um, the changes happening. Change is always happening, and we're in the middle of our planning period for 2024, and there's a lot of shifting going on. We've had two very well attended planning sessions so far with people who are several people who are really interested in the project and are showing up and wanting to get involved in different ways. So I'm really curious how things will continue to shift as potentially the core team grows and involvement grows and changes. Um, and I'm curious how that will inform the goal setting for the year ahead. Over to Ben.
Yeah, I think what has my attention, well, obviously the sessions that we've had this week have been really interesting and energizing. And it's not just the sessions. We've been having a lot of sort of offline stuff happening, including messages about friends of friends who are interested in what we're doing, and people that we made connections with almost a decade ago or 6 or 8 years ago, uh, showing up again in our inbox. And so what has my attention is that the sort of excitement of possibility. It's sort of yeah, storing it all together in a pot and wondering like what's going to happen now. So yeah, it's a little nerve-wracking, but it's mostly, I think, for myself, it's about learning to lean into, relax into the fun of who knows. So with that in mind, let's give you an update on where things stand right now. Ronnie, over to you.
So we had our first planning session for the year this past Monday, and we covered lessons learned and guiding principles for the process and for the year ahead. And we had our second session last night, which was Thursday night, and we went over our available resources for the project. We mapped our relationships on a number of different levels and made this really interesting map that you'll see in a few moments. And we went over our goals, starting at the high level, our 10-year goals, and sifting through those and seeing what feels doable or what is aspirational for the year ahead. So it was a really rich. Both of those sessions were really rich. And then our third session is coming up on this Monday, and we're going to be covering our functional areas and allocating our resources into the functional areas to come up with RFPs, which are requests for proposals, which then will be passed along to our wider lifeboat network to hopefully come up with proposals to present at the charrette later on in February. We're also going to be having individual action planning sessions for each of the guilds, the functional areas, and those are still TBD, so keep an eye out for that. And our second annual design charrette will be February 16th through 18th, and that will be a hybrid event, both online and in person. So keep an eye out for that as well. So our first session, as I mentioned, was looking at lessons learned about resilience and regeneration during 2023, as well as guiding principles for our work moving forward. So we all took turns using circle process to put little stickies on the board here, on the Miro board, based on lessons we had individually learned about resilience, as well as reflecting on things that we heard other people say. And then we did a clustering exercise where we moved the stickies into clusters based on the common themes and patterns we were seeing. And then Ben took circles to sort of delineate more specifically the different groupings that we came up with. So very roughly, the bottom left cluster seemed to be about basically treating everything as an experiment. There are no mistakes, there's no failure, everything is a learning opportunity. And then the one adjacent to that is about basically how things take time. There are certain things that you can't rush, they just emerge when they're ready. The third cluster was about building relationships. Relationships are really everything, not just between humans, but our relationships with everything in the world. And then the fourth one was really about nature, the nature of nature, and how we are nature and we're part of nature, and we can be intentionally informed by nature and biomimicry in the ways that we work together. So that's a brief overview of the session. It was really rich and fun, and there were some interesting moments and some laughter. So it was a nice time together. And over to you, Ben.
Sure. And Roland, do you want to add anything about the first session?
Well, that the the circles are a kind of a rough Venn diagram where it's not just groupings, but it's where things overlap, where things are shared between the different clusters. Um, and I believe it was recorded and will it be posted?
It's up on YouTube. Yeah, both
Is up on YouTube.
videos from both sessions are now up on YouTube.
So
Yeah.
this is a brief description of something that you can go back to in the YouTube channel if you haven't already, and be part of the process by viewing the session. That's what I would add. That's what I wanted to add.
Awesome.
Thank you for asking.
And I will build on that too and say the Miro board, we'll also post the link to the Miro board in the description to this video. And so not only can you watch along about how we did it, but there's also still an opportunity for you to contribute your lessons learned and add your own sticky notes to the Miro board. And then continuing to the session that we had on last night, Thursday night, we did a couple different things. And again, you can click to the Miro board and you can see the different boards that we worked on and continue to add your ideas to the mix. We looked at the available resources that we have, and we spent most of our time doing this exercise, which is really trying to map our network, map the relationship between different concepts, different practices, recognizing, like Roland was saying, the Venn diagram of resilience and regeneration involves a lot of different particular areas, no one of which is independent from the other. And so one of the things Cam added was it's like the Ghostbusters theme, who you gonna call? And so we want to map the territory so that we know when we have an issue, when something comes up, we can identify who are the groups and individuals that are already in our network who might be able to provide some advice and some insight in what we're doing. So right now it looks like like someone threw spaghetti at the wall, and it's still a work in progress. It will probably get messier before it gets clearer. But hopefully, and this is maybe an enticement to come to the charrette, because at the charrette, the cleaned up and rationalized version of this will somehow magically present itself. And the other thing that we did is we took some time looking at the different goals. We have 8 social benefits that we are committing to making some positive impact on. And so we have goals associated with each of those areas. We have our long-term 10-year goals. And then we also, last night, we generated a whole bunch of what we think we can get done in 2024. So again, click on the Miro board, take a look at those goals, feel free to add them. They are the raw material that we are going to be using on Monday night to figure out, what are the requests that we're going to make of the different functional areas in the guilds, to see how far we can get. Who can come up with a plan to get us where we want to be? How can we get as far as we can, as fast as we can in 2024 with the available resources? So that means that our focus for this coming week is actually pretty simple. Monday night will be our functional areas and guilds meeting. Encourage everyone to show up. It's a great opportunity to start to combine all of the different things that we've been working with so far. So how do we figure out how we divide up the work so we're all doing what we're interested in doing, contributing where we can contribute, and all for our mutual benefit. And from that, then over the space of the week, we'll be taking that information, we'll be refining it into sort of specific asks for each of the guilds, and then inviting people, tapping people on the shoulder to say, hey, would you be interested in helping us come up with an action plan around these ideas? And now it's time to turn our attention to some of the more detailed planning aspects for the charrette, which is coming up faster than I thought, which is always the case. So starting to work on logistics and planning for our February charrette time together. So that is our weekly update. Hopefully you're watching this and and excited about joining us on Monday night. We'll post the link to that session also in the comment or in the description for the YouTube video. And of course, you can always reach out and get in touch with us through email at friends@the Lifeboat Academy, at our webpage, lifeboat.academy, or the help desk, lifeboatacademy.freshdesk.com. So, and of course, follow us on your favorite form of social media and keep in touch. And we look forward to seeing you at the different planning events. So with that, see you soon.